If you're saying that if you're not afraid, then either you're lying or you're a Gorkha.
Soldiers in the British Army, but you are also sons of Nepal. Be proud of both.
Dyson Airwrap has new engineered attachments that control high-velocity air to harness the Kathmandu effect, to create curls faster, shape with precision, and now hide flyaways. Create your styles with air, not extreme heat. Customize your Airwrap only at Dyson.com.
The Gorkha regiment is very close to my heart, and so is yours, I'm sure. I remember a specific line. I believe it was 2 lines that was mentioned, and we talked about it earlier. If you could just share it with everybody again.
Yes, so it's the Duke's speech, and it resonated in a way that I should have predicted, but didn't. At one point, after the attestation has taken place, he said to the massed troops, he said, "You are now soldiers in the British Army, but you are also sons of Nepal. Be proud of both." And that was just, it brings up the hairs on your forearm kind of thing. It was a very emotional occasion. I'd been to one before, so I sort of knew that it was going to pack a punch for them too. They obviously spend a lot of time with the families who have this intense mixture, pride and sorrow. They get their little boy is going off, and he'll be doing press-ups in the snow in Catterick next week, but they're very, very proud. And of course the weather blessed us. I mean, look at that.
Look at that.
It's a matter
I remember seeing a video and listening what you just mentioned, but look at that. Yeah. Lucky.
Really, it was amazing.
Your Excellency, 200 plus years of service. This morning I was reading up more, and I was trying to have a chat with Major Dilli Rai that I mentioned to you earlier, who's been a good friend of the show. The British Gorkha soldiers have been almost in every conflict or every war that the UK has been, from East India Company to Burma, Hong Kong, Brunei, Cyprus, Falklands, the whole world. And seeing this and what the Duke mentioned, again, definitely the hairs came out.
Yeah. And, the traditions, they're unique, but they're also quite deliberate. The idea that we recruit in Nepal with the blessing of the government and the state. So a key part of the visit was to call on the Honourable President and to present to him the annual report on the activity of the Brigade of Gurkhas. So, we're very diligent in this kind of partnership that we have with Nepal. We recruit Nepali soldiers because they have been so effective down the years. And the system has grown up around them that doesn't try and fit them into a different pigeonhole. These are Gurkha soldiers. They know what they are. And it's the British Army that has to adapt to them, really. I mean, they learn extra fighting skills at infantry school and so on, and indeed many other skills. I mean, the astonishing thing about Gurkhas is that they can do almost anything. You'll find them in signals, you find them in peacekeeping, you find them in all the specialised branches and cap badges of the British Army. But they serve in a kind of cultural bubble, where they can speak their language, worship their gods, and be themselves, be a full version of themselves. They're not being kind of Britishified in any way. And that's been the magic down the years, and long may it continue. And
I'm sure it definitely is going to be. I'm thinking of Sham Manekshaw, the fantastic gentleman from India who mentioned that if you're saying that if you're not afraid, then either you're lying or you're a Gorkha.
Oh, they feel fear, but they master it. They are the mental disciplines in being a Gurkha are as great as the physical prowess. Yes.
And we're very proud of them. And the continuous recruitment of Gorkhas is going to carry forward for a long span of time. That's the agenda.
I certainly hope so. I mean, the actual requirements go up and down by 10, 20, maybe 100 people year on year. Last year was a kind of bumper year. I think we had 337 or something recruits. This was slightly less than 300. But the requirement is there. I mean, as long as Nepalis want to serve in the British Army, we will be honoured to work with them.
And again, the thing is, coming back to something that you just mentioned, which is, again, the first time you heard about the Gorkha soldiers, Your Excellency, when I just have to track back on this?
Yeah, so I probably first met Gurkha soldiers in Cyprus in a peacekeeping capacity. They are policing the Green Line between the Turkish army and the Greek Cyprus army. And peacekeeping is the ultimate challenge for a soldier. I mean, it's basically a combination of all the sort of martial skills and all the diplomatic skills. Gurkhas are in high demand for peacekeeping, both within the British Army and more spectacularly within the Nepal Army. I mean, Nepal is a peacekeeping superpower, and the world is very grateful to Nepal for this role.
I was reading a few days ago. Just try to Google this, and I just wanted to quickly mention this. I believe within the Prince Charles III, within his security detail, I'm sure we have the Gurkhas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and we met some of them. So it's a tradition. I can't remember when it started. Certainly, Her Majesty the Queen was very attached to her Gurkha orderlies, in Kaski in Pokhara, their Royal Highnesses met and thanked. I think there were about 8 or 9 of them. So yeah, that's another little quirky, beautiful thing.
Wow. No, just wrapping up, they also visited the Charitable Eye Hospital. I was reading up on that. I believe I saw some pictures. How did that go?
So that was the Duchess.
Yes.
She has a big sort of personal connection with eye health, both sort of cataract surgery, but also preventive, the sort of health advice that helps keep eyesight keen. Charitable has worked for many years, I think, with something called the Ridley Eye Foundation. And they take eye surgery to high-altitude camps for people who might not otherwise have their cataract treated. And, it is the most transformational thing to give someone their sight back.
Now, friends in Khandruk are going to be excited about what I'm about to say. Khandruk is phenomenal. It's magnificent when you get there, right?
Yes.
But to get there, it's a little bit tricky.
It's a challenge, yeah. A lot of steps.
You're thinking of maybe Annapurna Circuit, Your Excellency?
Personally, yes. You've heard a bit of my family history, and that Annapurna has a particular resonance for me. It's where my parents went on their holiday of a lifetime. It's a big one. I don't take it lightly, and you have to pick the right weather. I'd love to do that. This was a small part of it we did with the Duke and Duchess. We drove to Lumle, walked to Majgaon, stayed in a wonderful lodge there, dinner by a roaring fire. It was very beautiful. Woke up to this view of Annapurna Dakshin with Machu Picchu kind of up to the right. You didn't really see it from there. And then the day's walk through to Landruk, slowly the sort of fishtail came into your peripheral vision. And then from Landrook down, endless steps to the river, and then up the other side. And by the time you get to Gandruk, and you're kind of in the lap of Annapurna, and you see the Machu Picchu from behind, and you know that you suddenly see why it's got that name, which you can't tell from Pokhara, really.
You can't, yeah.
Yeah. So no, the whole thing's magic. It worked, even logistically. I mean, we were quite a cavalcade, but we still made it a very personal trek for their Royal Highnesses. And you know, my personal hope, and I was whispering in their ear, is that they come back as a family and have a proper holiday, because they worked so hard on this trip, and I would like them also to relax a bit in Nepal.
तपाईले हाम्रो क्लिप एकदमै एन्जॉय गर्नुभयो होला अब पुरै भिडियो हेर्नको लागि चाहिँ YouTube मा सब्स्क्राइब गर्न नबिर्सिनु होला Vyas Media Network